Just so before we begin, we're going to record this conversation as well. There's the camera, so if any of you don't want to be in the camera, you shouldn't mind because you're all beautiful people. So, but just so you know, it's kind of coming in these two tables here. Yeah. Oh, why are you moving? Get out of the firing line. Wow. Okay. Come over there.
Here you are, Amy. Probably.
You look great. Don't worry. We've got a speaker here as well, which will pick up the sound, so we can record it against the camera, and we'll just pass it between us. Okay, good. So I'd like to introduce Andrea Monica Hug.
Yeah.
Pronounced it right, yeah. It's a pleasure having you here. We're going to take, I guess, the next 10-15 minutes to find a little bit more about yourself, where she is, what she does, her journey in veganism, and then we'll open it at the end, some question and answers. So if you do have some questions, please hold on to them. We're really keen to get those answered at the end. So Andrea, hi.
Hi.
Hi. Why don't you give us a quick introduction to yourself, what it is you do, how it is that you've got your own business, and yeah, a little bit of background about yourself.
Okay, so hi everyone. Again, my name is Andrea. I'm just turned 30 actually in March. I live here in Zurich at Kreuzplatz, and I am a freelance photographer. I talked to some of you guys and somebody asked me, oh, did you learn photography? No, I did not at all. I have a degree in economics and I studied journalism and communication, but at the end found my passion in photography. So I've been a freelance photographer for 7 years now, a vegan freelance photographer. And in case you ever need photos, just send me an email.
Very nice. Thanks. What is a vegan photographer? Is it like special vegan oils and pictures?
Oh, no, but it's funny. Somebody actually booked me as a photographer because I was vegan. I think it was for a vegan restaurant. They specifically asked for a vegan photographer. So that came in handy. But otherwise, I'm also active on social media, which is Instagram. I work as a content creator for my own brand and for other brands, such as restaurants or hairdressers. I take their photos, and with a team, we publish the photos online. So I have been publicly speaking about veganism for 4 years now, probably. I've been invited to several TV stations. I've talked to newspapers because veganism is such a brand new big thing that nobody knows about, especially in Switzerland, the country of cheese and meat. And that's why we have to keep talking about it. And I'm always happy to do that.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more about how you got started? Have you always been a vegan? And if not, what kind of moved you towards that path?
I have definitely not always been a vegan. I grew up in a very Swiss family, so we used to eat cheese and meat every single day because it was healthy, as my parents said, which I later found out it was not in my case for my personal reasons. I did not become vegan for the animals. This might shock you a little bit because most people say, oh, I care about the animals, that's why I don't eat meat. That was not the case for me. I became vegan only because of health reasons. I was suffering from very bad acne. My skin was always red. I looked horrible. I had scar tissue. Like, I went to all of the doctors and nobody could help me. Like, they would give me medication and treatments and I would only get worse and worse and worse. And then I was like, this can't be it. Like, there has to be a different solution. And I looked into it. I Googled it, as you do things when you have a problem with something. And then veganism came up. And I was like, what is this? I read into it. I collected all of the information. And on my 25th birthday, I was like, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to become vegan. And I sat my parents down on the sofa because I knew it was a huge thing for them. I was like, I have to tell you something really important. You need to sit down. And so I will be vegan for the next month. My mom started crying. My dad was like, what are you, like, what is this? What are you going to eat? Like, I was like, don't worry, I'll be fine. I'm just going to try it out. My mom kept crying, wouldn't stop. She was like, what, you cannot eat bratwurst? And like, what about this? I was like, no, just let me do this thing. And then with my skin being really irritated and bad, I started eating this new vegan diet. And I had to cook for myself, which was kind of tough. It was the first time I was cooking for myself at the age of 25, which is ridiculous, by the way, because everybody should know what they're eating and how to cook. And then after 2 weeks, my skin improved so much. And I felt so much better. I started having more energy. I felt better when I got up in the morning. And after 1 month, my skin, after years of suffering, was perfectly clear. And my mom was like, okay, that thing you're doing over there with the veganism, that must be working. I allow you to do that further. I was like, okay, fine. And the doctors didn't even really say anything, which was a shock for me. They were like, oh, you found something that's working for you? Okay, you keep doing that, bye. I was like, no, I have to tell everybody. This is like the best thing ever. It helped me so much. I feel so much better. I have so much more energy. Then I started running around telling all my friends, you have to become vegan. They're like, what's wrong with you? Like, stop telling me what to eat. And then I noticed, okay, there has to be another way to tell people my story without forcing them into veganism. And that's why I became a social media influencer, where I just show people how I live, how I feel, what I eat, and I let them choose what to do with the information. Sorry, that was a bit long.
That's perfect. That's perfect. How do you think your message is different? Because I have seen your blog, and it's beautiful. There's some amazing pictures, and I think you run a business, Chick in Zurich as well, I think. So yeah, tell us a little bit about that and what you do.
Yeah, that was the reason why I got into photography. I started a blog when nobody knew what a blog was. I started with street style, which is fashion in the streets. Nobody in Switzerland had any idea about fashion in the streets, so I called it Chic in Zurich, and it was always mispronounced. People were coming up to me like, oh, you're the chick in Zurich? No, it's Chic in Zurich. Whatever, I took photos of more than 800 people. And that's when I decided maybe I should become a photographer and make money with this, because I'm actually enjoying it. So that was just a blog on the side. I don't use that anymore because I'm too busy working as a photographer, actually making money with the thing that I love. But I use my Instagram account, which is my name, at Andrea Monica Hug, where I show my daily routines, the things I eat, the things I do, casual stuff.
So tell us a little bit about that routine. I know a few of us here run blogs, a few of us are interested in the lifestyle, and maybe there's some here who are keen to move into that direction, but not sure maybe how. So what advice would you give? Maybe a little bit about yourself, and then advice for those people.
Mm-hmm. So for me, I never thought, okay, today is the day I become an influencer and I influence people's lives and do all that kind of stuff. No, I just started sharing my daily life because I realized people found it exciting to know what a photographer does every single day, and as a vegan, what I eat every single day. So I just started sharing the things I love, which for you may be something else. Maybe you are super interested in, I don't know, trains, and you want to talk more about trains and the whole topic, and you want to share with people and encourage other people to do so as well. So Instagram is a great platform. Blogs are amazing if you have more content to write and you want to publish photos and pictures. Again, if you need help with that, you can talk to me. I can tell you which people can help you with your social media account if you have a brand or something like that. But otherwise, for me, I just started doing things just like with photography. I never took a course in photography or a class. I just learned by doing, and that's the best way to practice, in my opinion.
So what is your routine in the mornings then?
My morning routine? Well, I get up really early at like 6 a.m. and I have my black coffee, and I used to go for a run when I was still training for the New York Marathon that I did twice, which was also connected to veganism, because when I became a vegan, people started telling me, my friends, oh, you must be lacking so many vitamins when you're not eating the meat, like you must be losing muscle and you don't have the energy anymore. And I was like, hell no, I feel so much better. I want to prove you wrong. And they were like, okay, so you just go run a marathon. And I was not sporty at all. I was like the laziest person on earth. And I was like, okay, I'm going to run a marathon. Then I applied for, of course, the one marathon in the world, the New York Marathon. And I started training, and it came really easy. I didn't find it very hard. My recovery time was really well with the food that I ate. Of course, I looked into what a marathon runner has to eat to perform well. And I managed to finish the marathon. And that helped me a lot with my friends and the whole veganism topic. They're like, okay, you're good now. You can eat your vegan food. Yeah.
Brilliant. I imagine coming from a Swiss background, especially the comments you've just said about your friends, has there been other negative, comments, maybe even through your Instagram accounts or in the position you are now, that you've had to deal with and prove them wrong, that veganism is a way of life that is sustainable and you are strong, you are fit, you are healthy?
Yes, absolutely. The point is, at some point, you just have to realize you cannot prove them wrong. If they don't want to know anything about it and they have built their opinion and they're stuck to it, you cannot prove them wrong, even though you really want to. I gave some interviews on TV stations and in the newspaper especially, and the comments online, I was like, what? Like I always try to be really neutral. I'm always saying, that's the way I eat. However you eat is your choice. You can choose yourself. I'm just showing you what I do, what works for me. If you want to eat otherwise, I'm totally fine with that. But then people told me they will take away my kids. I've never been pregnant before, and they're already like scaring me to say, oh, we will take away your kids. We will make sure you cannot have children. That's not the way to eat. Like you should go and die, and like the worst stuff just because of the way I eat, which still amazes me and which I think is not okay. And that's why I'm still here talking to people, trying to make them understand I'm not an alien for eating something else. I can be with you at the same table. I can respect your opinion as long as you respect mine. And I try to share more information because Swiss people are still new to the veganism, especially, for example, my relatives. They live in the countryside. And the first time we had the next big family feast, they were like, but what can I get you? And I was like, oh, just something like super easy, like fruit and stuff. And they're like, okay. And then my cousin came up to me and she was like, I got you this food. I'm going to give it to you. Like they had some sausages on the grill and I was like, okay, you got me something. That's awesome. What is it? She's like, I'm going to give it to you, but I'm not sure if it's vegan. Okay, just give it to me. Just let me. And she came to the room with a plate with a coconut on it. An entire coconut. And I just burst out laughing. I was like, why would you think? I mean, thank you for the coconut. I haven't had a whole entire coconut in a while. But what makes you think this is not vegan? And she was like, well, I wasn't sure because it contains milk, right? And that's where I have to, like, there's a lot of information missing in people's heads about nutrition. No matter what you eat, like, at least you should know what you're eating.
Brilliant, thank you. I think that's one of the beautiful things here about this group as well, is that we're all very, we can all support each other. We're aware that we're not alone. Yeah. And it's nice that you're continuing to promote that message. So let's move maybe on to the final set of questions. So you run a business. I know there's a couple of people here who run businesses themselves. What type of advice would you give them, especially around this health, nutrition, veganism, that you've learned maybe through your experiences, and that would help them also be successful?
Again, I strongly advise you not to force people into anything. Don't tell them, no, you're bad for eating meat, you're a horrible person, you kill animals. I mean, yes, obviously, people kill animals in order to eat them, but they will never see the benefits that way, at least from my experience. If you shock people too much, they will just turn away and leave. But if you just tell them, hey, look, I lead a fit and healthy lifestyle, or I really enjoy my vegan raw cakes, or look, you can maybe have a different option for your dinner next time. Just give them options, but never force them to do anything. And just go ahead as a good example.
Good advice, live by example. A final question here is for the future. So what would you like to see more of, maybe even from yourself, from the community, and where would you hope the vegan community to be in the next, say, 5, 10, 15 years?
Well, I hope in the next 5 years we'll be like 300 people here. But I hope options in restaurants for vegans are going to be better, or at least they don't get the weird stare or have to be the one person at the table who asks whether a certain meal is vegan or not. I hope there's going to be more acceptance for people. And in general, I think that's a great topic for the whole world, just to accept each other more and share information that we have online and just be kind to one another. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. All right. Question and answers. Any questions?
with B12, do you need to take supplements or is it all in the vegan?
Very good question. It's always funny when I answer questions about veganism, there never is a question that I've never heard before. So I do supplement B12, and many people, also as meat and cheese eaters, should supplement B12. I'm not a nutrition expert. I think you are a nutrition expert. So in case you have any nutritional expertise information, you should go to her. But I supplement B12. I've never was low in B12. And I have lots of friends who eat meat and cheese and they're super low in B12. So lots of people cannot receive or intake the vitamin as well. So we should all supplement. That's the one thing only. Yeah.
I have a question regarding to marathon. So I have run a lot of half marathons so far, and in my opinion, it's easy. But I think that marathon is a way bigger thing than just running a half marathon. So how did you get trained for that? Because you said you didn't train anything before, so you were not sport lady.
That's a really good question. I had to face myself with that question as well. I ran half marathons before I ran the full marathon. And I can tell you, it's basically the same, just worse. It's all in your mind. It's about endurance. It's about knowing your boundaries, your limits. And it's really about communicating with your body. And of course, exercising a lot. 1 month before the marathon, you run 30 plus kilometers. And then you see how things go and you just learn how to work with your body. And that's also about working with what makes me best, perform best, what to eat before, what to drink. I found out I was not drinking during the marathon. The entire marathon, I was not drinking, which made me perform better. But that's the thing you need to learn by time, and you have to listen to your body and not listen to what other people tell you, because other people might tell you, drink as much water as you can, but you find out for yourself, oh, that's not what I'm supposed to do. So learn to listen to your body, learn to listen to your mind, and set your mind to the goal of running an entire marathon. And it's not about the physical aspects. I've seen people running the New York Marathon who had no arms, who were in a wheelchair, who were massively overweight. Everybody can run a marathon. It's all in your head.
And did you take any carbohydrates while running? So either juice or energy bar or something?
During running, I did not eat. I did have gels.
Okay.
I took 5 gels during the marathon, but the night before the marathon and in the morning, I ate half a kilo of oats.
Okay. Yeah.
In the morning, half a kilo of oats with 1 liter of plant-based milk, and that filled me up pretty good. So I was, yeah, I was fine, yeah. But other people might do it differently. I know people who eat dates and bananas during the marathon, or I don't know. It's different for everybody.
Cool. Thank you.
Sure. Yes.
You said that you're a vegan photographer. Does it mean like vegan food photographer or like vegan people photographer or what is it?
I only take photos of vegan people. That's why I'm absolutely broke and I don't find work in Zurich. No. It's just, I guess it's my job title a little bit. Like people know me who have worked with me. They know that I'm vegan because usually there is catering at a job or you eat with the people you work with. But no, absolutely not. I have shot, actually just recently, I worked for a meat restaurant. And like there was a chef and she was like, oh, like the restaurant owner, he was like, oh, we want to like have the photo where she tears the meat apart. And I was like, okay, no worries. At that point, I just shut off my head and I'm like, okay, this is my job. It's like looking at an object. I don't look at meat as food. I don't see it as food. So that helps me to distance myself from it. And I take photos of basically anything.
Can I ask like how did you get started in this? Because I do it like I do food photography as a hobby, but how did you get like the first client or where is it when you really go on another level with that?
Yeah. As I said before, it started out a lot with learning by doing. So I just bought a camera because my friend told me I can take nice photos with it. And then I started taking photos of like rocks and birds and like a tree or like the super basic stuff just to get used to the camera. But I guess you already know how to use your camera.
How did you get started
with the business.
yeah.
Yeah. As I said before, I started the blog, Chic in Zurich, with the street style. So I taught myself how to take photos really fast of people. And of course, the people I took photos of, they wanted to see their photo after. So, yeah. Yeah. And then they shared the photo. They're like, oh, look, friend, this is my photo on this blog. And that helped me get some reach and to build my network because I got to know a lot of people. And then people started asking me like, oh, do you also do portrait? Do you also do events? And I've never done anything like this before. And I always said, yeah, of course I take portrait. Of course I do events. I just said yes to everything until a point where I knew what I was doing. But with you, I guess social media is great to use. Or maybe you can go to restaurants and suggest food photography for them. Don't be scared to ask people like if they need anything because people are really hesitant about social media and photography. That's what I find. Most of the people, they're like, oh, what photos? We never really thought about taking photos. Oh, that's such a great idea. Like just ask for things and be interested and share your passion.
What do you think of raw veganism?
What do I think about raw veganism? I've personally tried raw veganism. I really liked it. I love it in the summertime. I eat lots of raw foods. But for me personally, I don't judge anyone. I don't say it's bad or good. I'm not a nutritionist. Again, we have the expert here. I think it's nice from time to change it up, but during winter time in Switzerland it gets really cold and I need some warm food. So that's why I would not be able to do it for the whole year. But if I lived in a warmer climate, I could totally imagine myself being raw vegan. How do you feel about raw veganism?
I tried it for about a week, but it was kind of horrible because I didn't have a food processor. Well, we had one, but it broke, and it was very difficult because at my workplace, they judge me a lot because I'm vegan, and they always look at my food and see like, oh,
And then you became a raw vegan, they were like, oh, you're such a horrible person.
yeah, and if I just like took an apple or something, they would also look at me wrong. So I really like making interesting vegan foods, and it would really help when I get the processor, and now we got it.
I think the problem with raw veganism in Switzerland is that you need to get a big amount of fruit in a very good quality, and that might be very, very expensive. And if you live in a warmer climate where fruit is more available and a lot cheaper, I guess it would be easier to be a raw vegan. That's just. What do you think about raw veganism?
Similar, similar. I think it's a wonderful idea. I think there are people here who are raw vegans. For me personally, I like having hot food. So I think it's just a personal preference. But from a health and nutritional perspective, I don't know. I think it's great that you're pursuing that. And as you see, all of us support you 100%. So if there's any issues, you tell them to come talk to us, all right? All right, we'll go over there and leave her alone. Yeah, exactly. Good. Any other questions? I have one final question. I think I saw a photo of you with Roger Federer. Is that true?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Funny story. I was at a job taking photos for a car magazine somewhere in a pumpkin field. And then the woman who was modeling for the car magazine photo, she was like, look, it's Roger Federer. And I was like, you're joking. She's like, no, it's Roger, turn around. It's Roger. I was like, there's never going to be, it's 9 a.m. at the pumpkin field in the morning. She was like, and I turned around, I was like, okay, this is Roger Federer. And I was like, this is once in a lifetime that I'm in a pumpkin field at 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning with Roger Federer, so I might just go up to him and take a photo. And I actually asked him to take a photo of him only because I wanted, I'm a photographer, and he was like, no, you can only take a photo with me together. Otherwise, I would have been able to sell it to a magazine and make a lot of money with it. I was like, oh, okay. He was not that nice to me, as everybody was saying. But maybe he just had a bad day, 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning in a pumpkin field. I don't know. But I think he was with his family hiking or something, and he happened to be at the same place where we had the shoot. It was such a huge coincidence. But I do have the photo, and I treasure it a lot. Yeah.
Perfect. Any final questions? Good. So if anyone's interested in maybe finding out a little bit more about yourself or working with you, where should they go and how should they get in contact?
You can write me an email on mail@andreamonicahug.com, or you can follow me on Instagram, also @AndreaMonicaHug, or you can follow me on Twitter, also @AndreaMonicaHug, or you can add me on Facebook, however you like. I'm happy to answer any of your questions or emails, or just say hi, or maybe grab a coffee together. I'm here. Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much.